The Hornets pick up a win. Mark Williams is the player of the game. He looks fantastic last night against New York. We'll also get to some mock drafts today on Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free. We're available anywhere you get your podcast, and that includes YouTube. There's Doug Branson. You can find him on everyhornetsboxscore.com. You can also listen to him on his other pod, Locked On NBA, with Matt Moore and Hayes. I'm Walker Mail. You can listen to me on WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So thanks to FanDuel. And last, but certainly not least, there's a newsletter, a Locked On Hornets daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. You can sign up for free now, LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Hornets newsletter. How about a victory? How about a dub? Hornets get another win. They win 115-98 over New York, and really, at least 80% of the starter stat line looked pretty good. Josh Green got to move over when it comes to this conversation. But the other starters.
I refuse to start there. We will not start this show with Josh Green.
We will not. We're not going to start it with Josh Green. Miles Bridges had 15 points, maybe cooling off just a tad, only because you can't score 35 every game, but did score 15 and went 6 of 17 in this one. DeQuan Jeffries, shout out to the DeQuan Jeffries revenge game into this contest. 14 points for DeQuan. 3 of 5 from the 3 line. He's been shooting pretty well here recently. But the two most interesting players, I think, in this game, Doug, it was LaMelo Ball hitting 50% of his three-point shots, 10 of them from distance, 10 of 23 from the field, 25 points. And then it was Mark Williams, 19 points for him, 14 rebounds, had 7 offensive rebounds, and he was 8 of 14 from the field. 3 blocks, still dishing, baby. 4 assists in this one. I think we probably start with Mark like we have so many other games this year, so many other episodes this year, whether we're talking about the trade being rescinded, whether we're discussing Mark doesn't look quite right, whether we're discussing whether the 38 points was valid that he had against Memphis, even if they got blown out. There's been so many times that he has been the A block of the Locked On Hornets podcast. I do think he played really well. We talked about whether he was going to be able to match up well enough with a shooting big like Cat. Not much damage done from Karl-Anthony Towns, especially from the three-point line. He only went 2 of 4 from the line. He went 10 of 21 from the field. So he got his numbers, but it wasn't an explosive Cat game. I thought Mark Williams, with the 3 blocks, had a couple of nice sequences. I like what I saw last night. But as always, the interesting question will be, did Doug Branson like what he saw from Mark Williams last night? Tell the people.
I thought it was a good game. I thought he was active on the boards, particularly the offensive boards early. I thought he helped set a tone, which I think is all we've ever asked of him and all his teammates have ever asked of him. I mean, we talked about Miles Bridges asking him to bring that level of intensity to the beginning of games consistently. You heard LaMelo in his post-game interview with Shannon Spake saying that the team comes and goes as Mark Williams comes and goes, because his energy, his intensity down low can leak into everyone and can help them get second chances. And when your offense is not very good, those second chances are super important. And so I thought his activity on the boards, very good. The 3 blocks, one of them coming on help on Karl-Anthony Towns, what would have been a layup. And it was a team effort to take out Karl-Anthony Towns in this game and really slowed him down. We wondered if they were going to hide Mark Williams, if they even had that option. And maybe it wasn't ideal, but Lee decided to do that and put Mark on OG Anunoby and basically just dared OG to shoot open jump shots. I mean, you had Mark kind of fake closing out, but OG was open and he missed those shots, thankfully. And it really slowed the New York offense down because it frustrated Karl-Anthony Towns being run off the line by Miles Bridges and being sent into whoever was down low for help. and forcing him into tough shots, particularly early. So look, Mark has some issues still with his defense. There was one particular play late in this game. You can go to every Hornets box score. I've got the time marked on it. And I just wrote, what the hell was this defense, Mark? He just moved out of Precious Achua's way as they were kind of going in transition. No resistance at the rim. There's no universe where Diabate doesn't put some kind of body part on Precious to prevent such an easy shot. There are technique issues there. There are technique issues in his ISO post offense where, if Mark starts his offense and he's looking for his shot and he starts it anywhere near the free throw line, it's bad news. If he's being facilitated to by LaMelo or by someone else, it's good news. And so that makes him a less dynamic offensive player. So there were some issues here, but overall, it's all about energy, it's all about engagement, and it's all about the boards for him right now.
Yeah, good game. It's a good game, right? There's going to be plays every game where Mark Williams is not going to look great. There's going to be plays where he gets beat. But if we're talking about whether he had a good game last night, Mark Williams had a good game. And if you're talking about defense, there are even times where there's Karl-Anthony Towns. One of the blocks that he had was Karl-Anthony Towns on the trail, Mark kind of showing, but he has that ability to roam and then crashes down and then swats a shot down there on the low post block. And what we got to see from Mark is a little bit of the roaming, right? So you have Karl-Anthony Towns, who's one of the best shooters in the NBA, regardless of his position. He's a fantastic shooter. And then you put Mark on a shooter that is a little bit cold, and then you allow him to have a little more free reign. And that's what Charles Lee talked about at the beginning of the season, wanting to experiment with. But even offensively, I think what's happening now, whether it's best for him, whether it's best for the team because they want to trade him, whether it's best for both, because it's a symbiotic relationship right now between Mark Williams and the Hornets, where he could possibly just show you signs that he's the starting center going forward or he's the starting center for another team. But the way that he's turned it around, in my opinion, for the most part, since I would say the Heat game, and we're talking about like 2 weeks worth of games or so, where we have a pretty consistent sample to me, where we're seeing a lot of activity. No, he's not perfect. He had the bad Minnesota game. There are bad games. But when we talk about just overall a better consistency from Mark Williams, we're seeing that. And if we're talking about him setting the tone, and he hasn't been doing that nearly as much when we go back to the earlier games this year, that's starting to change a little bit. Can you hold on? Can you hold on for the last 3 weeks that we have left in the season? If you hold on and you continue this type of consistency, this sample where we might have a couple of episodes where we come on here and we say, damn, Mark didn't really have it. He got punished in the post. We might have one or two. I'm hoping it's only one or two. But if you hold on, this is how you finish, I think, what has been a turbulent, to say the least, season for the big man down low.
For sure. And I think what the Hornets have to figure out in the offseason is, where is the body? Where is he physically? Can he hold up for an entire season? And are these technique issues that he has, are they fixable? A big summer for Mark. And is Mark willing to fix those things? And if one or both of those, if the answer is no, or the body is not there, then yeah, I mean, I think they have to look at moving him. But again, I'm totally with you. Over the past couple of weeks, the energy's there, the activity's there, and that wasn't the case pre-trade deadline. And
it's impactful. Like, it's helping them when he's doing that, which is
absolutely.
You need to hold on, baby. Come on, be the little cat in the hang in there poster on every elementary classroom poster. Please, just hang in there. All right, let's move on. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
Let's get to some other observations in this game, in this double-digit win against the Knicks at home, when the Knicks actually played their guys, surprisingly. They didn't rest every single one. Yeah, Jalen Brunson didn't play, but who cares? A win is a win. We'll get to some of that and more next, LOH. This episode is brought to you by Upwork. We appreciate them. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Upwork connects you with top freelance talent across IT, AI, web development, marketing, and more. Whether you need an extra hand for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Posting a job is free and simple, and often gives you multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Visit Upwork.com and post your job for free today. That's UPWORK, Upwork.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business now. This episode is also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Daylight savings snuck up on us again. If you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, that's me. San Diego, they almost had it. I had the Tritons going to the Sweet 16. I stayed up. I need a 5 Hour Energy today. You can squeeze in a round of golf after work, maybe just keep up with your busy day. 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Don't let the long days wear you out. 5 Hour Energy helps you stay sharp and focused, whether you're catching every moment of the tournament, getting outside for a hike, tackling a packed schedule. It's small, it's convenient, and it's ready whenever you are. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You could build your own 12-pack or even 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. You can stock up today and stay energized. More Locked On Hornets ahead. All right, other observations here, Doug. You want to get to LaMelo and his 25-point performance? What'd you think about, and 8 assists? I should have mentioned that earlier. What'd you think of his game?
Well, that's what I would look at. I mean, obviously, he was able to hit some three-point shots, particularly late, that put the Knicks away and took away, as the Knicks finally figured out how to shoot. Like for 3 quarters, they just had no idea how to shoot the basketball. Very uncharacteristic of a team that is the 5th best offense in the entire league. They've got an offensive rating of 117. The Hornets held them in the first half to an offensive rating of 93. Some of that was the Hornets, and some of that, again, was just OG Anunoby missing open shots. But I thought, in terms of LaMelo Ball, I thought the 8 assists more important than the 25 points. He was, in my opinion, a true floor general in this game. He got others involved early, also looked for his shot, but looked for others first. He took good looks when they were open and kept himself from taking bad looks when he wasn't open. I thought he drove the basketball. He paced the offense well. He didn't get ahead of his own offense. And again, I just thought he really moved the ball well. And he had some silly foul trouble, got 3 pretty early, missed some time, then picked up a 4th that he shouldn't pick up. But here's the important part. He can pick up 4. You just can't pick up 6. You cannot take yourself out of the game by the middle of the 4th quarter when the Hornets absolutely need what LaMelo Ball brings to this team. And after that 4th foul, he buckled up, he got disciplined, he didn't do anything silly after that. So I thought this was vintage LaMelo Ball. And this was a balanced offensive game, right? You had 5 scores in double digits. You only had 1 in LaMelo Ball, who got over 20 late. And so I just thought this was honestly sneakily one of the best games I've seen from LaMelo Ball this season. And I'm including the 50 burger and the 40 burger.
Well, I would say if certainly in the second half, certainly post All-Star break, if you have your really game, but just the 3-minute snippet of the Lakers game where LaMelo took over and everything that happened good for this team offensively was because of what happened with LaMelo, how the defense dictated whatever they did towards LaMelo. That 3-minute stretch was glorious to watch, and including the context of them wanting to beat the Lakers because of the Rob Pelinka of it all. But passing LaMelo, if you were to say what's his best skill, what is his best skill set as an NBA player? It was true as a rookie. It's true now. His vision, his passing is otherworldly. And so if you're trying to put LaMelo in a space where you limit his best skill set, that doesn't make the most sense to me. He's got other skills, which makes him a great offensive NBA player right now. he can shoot. This is the outlier year for shooting. The other years he's good. This is the bad one. This is the outlier year shooting for him. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. So LaMelo can shoot. He showed you that last night. But it is nice to watch him just dish and run the floor and have these excellent passes, because there's not a pass that he can't make. He's tall enough to where he can get every angle that he wants at the top of the key. What my favorite LaMelo pass is, I think that's a consistent one, are the baseline fireballs that wrap around bodies but hit you in the corner. Like he'll somehow, it's kind of reminiscent of the Miles Bridges game winner against the Spurs right before the All-Star break. It was kind of reminiscent of that pass. Love these dishes from LaMelo. I'm with you, man. I just love watching him run things, just be in total control of the floor game.
My favorite LaMelo Ball pass, and he showcased it in this one, is when, he takes the pick and drives and jumps and gets way up high and kind of fakes you out and then drops it down low.
Sweet.
Long arms Mark Williams. That's when having Mark Williams helps, because he can take those long arms, grab that ball really low. But it's an okey doke. He loves this little okey doke pass, and it's like, I'm going to do something up here and then steal your wallet. Like it's a pickpocket pass. It's not a pocket pass, it's a pickpocket pass.
We used to have a coach back at basketball camp up at Park Tudor High School in Indiana. It's where Yogi Ferrell went, Trayvon Blewett, Jaren Jackson. Anyways, they used to say hello, get a defensive stance. One hand up, one hand down, hello, give me your money. LaMelo's bringing the give me your money, give me your pickpocket, give me your money here on the offense. LaMelo, good game from him, man. Good game from Mark. Let's go anywhere else. What's the next one? And before we can move on to some mock drafts here, Nick Smith Jr. scored 13 points off of the bench. He missed 6 shots, but he did hit 2 of his 4 3-point attempts. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, only 1 turnover. 3 for 3 for Nurk. Hit a couple threes. Is this his first multi-3 game too?
I think so. I thought I didn't write it in every Hornets box score because I wasn't sure, but I'm pretty sure that this was the first multi-3 game.
Confirmed.
It's the dream. It's the dream. It's what I've always wanted. I love it. I did write this in every Hornets box score. I said, I am going to probably wait until 15 games after Yusuf Nurkic has worn out his welcome in Charlotte to come off the island. Like, you're going to have to drag me off Yusuf Nurkic Island, because I have wanted a shooting center for so long. And as long as he's hitting that 3, he can do no wrong in my eye. Back to LaMelo Ball really quickly, because we're at the end of the week, and I will forget this by Monday. But his floater has gone away. And it did in this game. He missed a ton of 2-point shots, and most of them were floaters or runners. He would have had 40 points in this game, I'm fairly confident, had some of those floaters gone in. And so, I think that's where all NBA LaMelo Ball puts all of that together. Puts the 8 assists with the 35 points. Then you're getting closer to some vision of him being an all-NBA player. But he's got to do that consistently. And stay out of foul trouble. Nick Smith Jr., this was the most aggressive Nick Smith Jr. offensive game that I've seen in terms of him getting downhill and wanting to drive. I think they put Landry Shamet on him, and I thought he just sort of looked at that matchup and said, yummy, yummy, I'm going to take this guy to the hole. He did it. But here's the thing about Nick Smith Jr. He keeps getting taken advantage of in transition, and it's not really his fault. He's just smaller than everybody on the court when they play these bigger, elite playoff level teams. And so what I suggest for Nick Smith Jr. in the offseason is just watch a lot of Jose Alvarado tape. He's got to find a way in these transition possessions to pick pockets, to find a way to get that ball out of their hands, because you are not, with your body, you're just not going to be able to stop these freight trains that are coming at you. And I'm talking about Josh Hart, like not the biggest dudes in the world, but Nick Smith Jr. is not big. So he's got to find a sneaky way to impact transition possessions where he's not just getting bulldozed.
Yeah,
Jose Alvarado.
So and Jose Alvarado, stockier guy. So weight room, Nick Smith Jr. I think that's what you want to see from Nick Smith Jr.
Well, you got to be both. Yeah, you got to get in the weight room for sure. Got to get stronger. That's obvious. But I think he also has to, while he's doing that, find a way to impact these transition possessions. Or honestly, with how many transition possessions there are in NBA games this day and age, like that's a real impact, and that can keep you off the floor if a coach is not confident that you can stop anyone.
Last thing, good to see Diabate out there. Glad that we avoided any serious injury. 12 minutes for him last night. Just getting his feet wet, I imagine, after the injury. 5 rebounds and 7 points for Musa in this one. So just glad that he got in the game, that he's able to play, and hopefully he can be available the rest of the way. Last thing, what you got?
Took another 3. And
Yeah,
within
he
the
did.
and not in garbage. I think the last 3 that he took in Tuesday's game, that was a corner 3 that was closer to garbage time. This one was, I think, at the 9-minute mark of the second quarter or the third quarter. Like it was within the context of the game. They played him at 4 a lot in this game. He got a little time at 5. But mostly they were playing him alongside Nurkic or Mark Williams. They're obviously trying to get a look at him at 4. He hit a Euro step. I thought his 2-point game was fairly decent. I thought he got taken advantage of by Cat on a couple of possessions early, and then I thought he got his feet under him and then frustrated Cat on some following possessions. And that's really, to me, the story of this game, is that everybody was doing every little thing that you have to do when you're a little talent deficient to come up and win a game. Yes, it's March, but New York, they just got embarrassed by the Spurs. And as you said, they're playing everyone. Jalen Brunson's got the ankle injury. Everybody else played. New York needed to come in and compete in this game, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They did it, and Charlotte didn't let them. Like the energy at the very beginning of the game was fully in favor of the Charlotte Hornets at home. Look, I don't care about Tank. Winning this game is important because whatever players that were on the floor tonight that remain with the team next season, they need a few of these wins to keep the hope alive. I compared it in every Hornets box score to hitting the back of the flashlight. You know, when the batteries are going dead, this is if you're Gen Z, this might be a little anachronistic. You might not understand this, but hitting the back of the manual.
Just
exactly.
use the phone. Just turn on the flashlight app. What are you talking about?
I'm talking the huge steel. I need to wash my hands here. The huge steel metal flashlights with the big batteries in them, and you used to hit the back of it to try to get the light to come on when the batteries are going dead, just to light the feet to the path of a good team. They need a few of these wins. They'll pile up a few more losses before the season's over.
Yeah.
But this was good.
And they didn't have to rely on Miles to do it.
I would say long term, you shouldn't need that. Like, I don't think 35 points from Miles Bridges is a healthy team.
No, that's exactly my point. That goes hand in hand, fully believing in what you were saying right there. The fact that they did not have to rely on Miles for this one in particular, the fact that they showed up ready to fight, and not that Miles didn't play with any effort, it's just they didn't have to rely on all of it. He wasn't the sole being. He wasn't the one that needed to hit the flashlight. Everybody else was banging the flashlight. Whew, that's what's nice. So,
and they didn't need 5 threes from Josh Green, which there is nothing less that you can count on this team than 5 threes from Josh Green. My goodness. Not good.
Positive signs.
I think he can be good. I want him to be good. But he's not good right now.
Positive signs. We're seeing them here and there. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
He's everywhere.
21 minutes from Josh Green. Something going on there. Something to watch.
He got in foul trouble too. He had 5 in this one. But also mock drafts and a preview coming up next. One more segment to go, LOH. You keep talking over the T's, man. YouTube commenters are starting to get on you. It's okay. It's fine. Just I need you to settle down.
I'm excited.
It's
that was
okay.
an exciting game.
No, it's true. No, you should be excited. All right, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. We appreciate FanDuel as always helping us out. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. You can pick your favorite teams. I had my eye on a few underdogs this year. Again, San Diego. Going to take a little while to get over that one. FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. Staying in the action with tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something exciting to bet on. It's easy and it's fast. The FanDuel app is simple to use. And when I win, I get paid instantly. No waiting around. It'll be the same for you. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. More Locked On Hornets ahead.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Oh, man, San Diego, they got this fun player, Doug, where it's just like this little guard. I mean, he's scrawny. He's like 6'5". It's Tate Jones, and he plays this post game. He just gets there. He's crafty. He's a lot of fun. He averages 20 a game. He gets to the foul line. He fouled out. That's what hurt him, even though they played well without him on the floor. Either way, fun game for the Tritons. Just couldn't get it done.
My flyer was McNeese State.
Hey, look at you.
State?
Not anymore. Not anymore. They got rid of the state.
They got rid of the state, but they didn't get rid of their tourney action. And McNeese, first of all, I never believe in Clemson. That's a rule for me when making out brackets. Sometimes it fails me, but most of the time it's pretty good. And then I love a good tourney team whose coach has accepted a job somewhere else, and the guys are all like, one more for coach. Mm-hmm. I've seen this happen so many times over the years in the tournament. The one more for coach team, and that's McNeese, baby. And I'm riding them all the way to the Elite Eight. Let's go, McNeese! Let's go, Cowboys! How about the Cowboys?
That game got close, too. Clemson, their offense was terrible. They forgot how to basketball for a very long time, and then they hit a million threes to make that game close. Will Wade going to NC State? I'm excited about the triangle, man. That's such a huge move. Anyways, let's get to some mock drafts. We're not looking at anybody out of NC State. They're hiring Will Wade to have him recruit guys that the Hornets might be interested in down the line. But right now, nobody to watch for out of NC State. Doug, what kind of mock drafts you want to bring to the table?
I do have a couple of mock drafts, but before that, one more crazy stat from this game having to do with Josh Green. Taj Gibson got 1 minute and 20 seconds in this game, was a -2, but got in at the very end of the game after Tibbs finally called off the dogs and said, we're done here. Like, that's what it takes for him to stop playing his starters, is getting blown out by 10 plus to the Charlotte Hornets. So Taj Gibson, 1 minute, 20 seconds in the game, 2 points, 1 rebound, had a higher game score at 2.4 than Josh Green, who played in 21 minutes of this contest. Absurd.
Oh my God. I will call it a heel turn, because we did, like 3 weeks ago, have a conversation about how on a contender, Josh Green has a role, but he's been so cold since then. It's made you angry every episode anytime his name is brought up. I just feel like Josh Green should be taboo for you, for your own mental health, and I want to help you. So I don't want to bring up Josh Green for you anymore, because I can see you get so angry anytime that we mention him. It's the lack of shooting. It's just the goose eggs. You can't take any more goose eggs.
By the way, it's not the goose eggs. It's the 2 point. It's him dropping a deuce on a game, 2 points. He's done that. I think this would have been, he hit a 3 late. I think this would have been the 7th or 8th time that he dropped a deuce on the box score.
I'm laughing every time. I'm 13 years old. I'm laughing every single time because I know what you mean. It's not that he's scoring 2 points. You do not mean it that way. You mean it a very, very different way. Mock drafts. What you got for the people?
All right, let's sim the lottery on Tankathon. Let's find out where the Hornets are going to land today. They went all the way to, I think, did I say 7th last time? They dropped as much as far as they could drop. In this one, not as bad. They go down 1 spot. Toronto jumps up 4 spots. My God. New Orleans jumps up 3 spots and gets the #1 overall pick. If that happens,
we'd not be okay. We wouldn't be okay.
Quit. I might quit.
No, and here we are. We're trying to rationalize it now. I'm telling you, pitchforks would be outside Adam Silver's office in 13 minutes too. Another number I just went with 13. Okay, yeah. What you got here? So what's the pick, and who do you want to start with?
Now this is going to be Hoops Hype. Cyro. Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm going to go with Cyro. I'm just going to go with Cyro. It's a tough name, and I don't want to butcher it. So Cyro, you know who you are. March 20th, 2025 for Hoops Hype. This is a aggregate draft, which is good. So there won't be any team ramifications here. Cooper Flagg goes number 1, Dylan Harper 2, Ace Bailey 3, and with the 4th pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Baylor guard, freshman VJ Edgecombe. His best rank is at 3. His worst is at 5. So he averages it out, settles in with the 4th pick. What do you think about VJ Edgecombe?
It seems like people really like the fit next to the core that's here, at least right now. We don't necessarily have to care about fit or position because you just need talent. It does not matter. But if you were to keep this core in place, if you did decide that you were going to go with LaMelo because you didn't get a trade offer that you liked in return and you just aren't shopping him at all. If you were going to roll with Mark Williams because you didn't get a trade offer that you liked in return, Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller, whatever, right? VJ Edgecombe would fit with that lineup. So if you have LaMelo at the 1, you have VJ at the 2, and then Brandon Miller at the 3, Mark at the 5, Miles at the 4. And you got this, I mean, not the singular bars because LaMelo is too tall, but you got a bunch of dudes that pretty much fit their position naturally, and they could all play on the floor at the same time. The shooting for VJ, that's a little dicey. We need some shooting on this team, but the defense from VJ, now that's what you would like because you know who would be, you know who would be not getting as many minutes if they drafted VJ Edgecombe. It's your boy. He wouldn't be able to drop a deuce on this game anymore. It'd be VJ.
Doesn't even exist. I don't even know who you're talking about. He's a ghost out there. He doesn't even exist.
It's those we don't speak of. He might as well be a monster in the village. It's those we don't speak of. So VJ Edgecombe, he'd fit really well. Defense, 3-and-D prospect. The 3 has to come along, but it had a kind of an up and down season for Baylor. 1-2's there. Athleticism certainly is there. So I'd be totally fine with this pick. I'd like it, in fact.
You know what's interesting about this draft is that if you want to pair someone with Brandon Miller on the wing, this is like the perfect draft because you got Ace Bailey at 3, you got VJ Edgecombe, you got Trey Johnson at 5 in this draft, but it's interesting, right? Because you got Trey Johnson, who is offensive powerhouse, defense basically non-factor. VJ Edgecombe, the opposite. He's a huge factor on the defensive end and lots of questions offensively. And so it's almost like who you draft here may decide some things about Brandon Miller and what you're going to ask of him. Because if you get Trey Johnson, maybe you ask Brandon Miller to do some more things defensively. And if you end up with VJ Edgecombe, you just let Brandon Miller run wild and you put VJ Edgecombe on whoever the best wing is. And if you keep Miles Bridges, you've got some help there as well at the 4.
Which some help defense, man, like Miles and Brandon as some help defenders and Mark as your theoretical rim protector just on drives, right? Like if we're leaving the big man matchup alone, just talking about funneling those dudes into your help with Brandon coming off of his guy. That because Brandon's good team defender. I like him coming off and then blocking dudes of his assignment. Like I see the vision with VJ. That looks fun.
I do too. I wonder though, man. I've started to watch a little bit of Trey Johnson, and unfortunately, not going to get to see any of him in this tournament. But of the little bit that I've watched of Trey Johnson, man, athletic freak. I just wonder, you tend to fall in love with those guys in the draft. And so I think VJ Edgecombe is this guy that's been mocked to 4 for what seems like 10 years now. Like it's just you cannot get him out of 4. And I always worry about that guy. And I don't know, Brandon Miller wasn't really that guy. But
I know who the guy is. I know who the guy is. It was it's pretty much Amen Thompson. Amen Thompson, and that's turning out fantastic for Houston.
Good.
So and like I guess different players, and I'm just there's too much on my plate. I'm not grinding out NBA draft tape right now, but VJ defensive guy, Amen Thompson defensive guy. Yeah, Amen could not crack the position really above Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson, and we knew Wemby was going to go number one. So Amen Thompson is that guy.
Yeah, but the Hornets can't score right now, and to add a little bit of what seems like instant offense from Trey Johnson, and he's got a big body. I don't know what's wrong with him defensively. I haven't done that. I just know that people say that he's not good right now. Could under Charles Lee, could he get good fast but you already have the offense? I just wonder if maybe they fall in love with Trey Johnson. A lot of work for the Hornets to do on this draft, and it's going to get really interesting if they fall out of the top two. Maybe top three. Maybe Ace Bailey is locked in at 3, but if they fall out of the top 2, I think then the Hornets, what I'm saying here is they're going to have some options. They're going to be able to take some directions here at the small forward or 3-4 position.
Man, it does seem to be living up to the hype though. Like it does seem like a pretty damn deep draft. And I don't want to fall to 7. That's bad. But even
Would you have Jeremiah Fears if you fall to 7?
Let me tell you, I have not watched enough of Jeremiah Fears. Like the guys that are there, it's the Duke guys, which I have watched enough of and have a feel for. Derek Queen, who I've watched enough of, and he'll play today, by the way, against Grand Canyon. So that'll be interesting to see what kind of tournament run he goes on. He's an interesting player too, and I know Nada likes him a lot. So we'll see how it all turns out today, the second round or the second day of the round of 64. There's some Hornets prospects to go out there and watch potentially. That'll do it for us. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free and available anywhere you get your podcast. That includes YouTube, Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Also, go check out Locked On NBA with Matt Moore and Hayes. I'm Walker Mail. You can listen to me on WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3. I'm out at Platform Sports Bar again today, folks. Got to meet some listeners. That was cool. So if you want to come by and say what's up, drink some beers, have good food. The TV walls are crazy. It's like a mansion of TVs, a little sliver of Vegas on South Boulevard. It's pretty sweet. That was sexual. We'll have a great weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday.
I'll be there in 6 hours.